2024 Mercedes-AMG GT adds practicality but keeps its stunning design. The AMG GT Coupe returns. It offers additional practicality thanks to new rear seats and a larger cargo area. Twin-turbo V8 remains, offering 476 horsepower in the AMG GT55 and 585 HP in the AMG GT63. The new interior features a 11.9-inch touchscreen and improved visibility. It's hard to think of a car with more distinctive styling than the old Mercedes-AMG GT Coupe. Part comic book hero, part German Dodge Viper, the GT Coupe and its roadster sibling were famous for their obscenely long hoods, short rear decks and wide, menacing stance. Introduced in 2015, the AMG GT quickly became a modern classic thanks to its wild styling but also because of the thunderous, intoxicating roar emitted by the twin-turbocharged 4.0-liter V8 engine. Quite a few versions were produced, including some real nut jobs like the GTR and the GT Black Series, that were more or less track cars with a license plate. To top it all off, the AMG GT Coupe remains an active and decorated race winner, having collected trophies at the Nürburgring, Daytona, Sebring, and Spa-Francorchamps. So it was with some disbelief, and a twinge of sadness, when rumors began spreading that the next generation AMG GT Coupe would feature a back seat and a larger trunk in the interest of making it more practical. Had we been in charge at Mercedes-AMG, many of our editors would have quickly gestured these potential buyers toward the AMG GT sedan, or any number of the company's ridiculously fast vehicles, and dismissed any attempts to corrupt the pure and perfectly ridiculous GT Coupe. But we are not in charge, so we sat by, powerless to do anything but await the fate of one of our favorite road-going machines of the past decade. What you see in these photos is indeed the 2024 Mercedes-AMG GT Coupe. And, yes, it has back seats. And, yes, it has a cargo area with an extra cubic foot of storage space. And, yes, it looks amazing. Did they ruin it? From the outside, you might not even notice that the GT Coupe is now a 2+2. Granted, the redesign has cut some of the length off the nose of the GT, but its proportions are largely the same, and we think it still looks really cool. It's only once you open the door that you notice a pair of buckets in the back. But with a tight rear compartment, the rear seats are akin to what you'd find in a Porsche 911, it's no wonder why the profile hasn't changed too much. Mercedes-AMG was very clear to point out that two common requests were for back seats and a trunk capable of holding more luggage or the dreaded golf bag. Visibility was also mentioned as a pain point and we had one of our own, the dated infotainment system. We had the privilege to sit in an early production version of the GT Coupe and can say that a happy medium has been struck. First, if you think these back seats are fit for adults, you're mistaken. These really are 911 spec rear seats, and Mercedes even admits they're best for people just under 5 feet in height. Even then, you'd have to be sitting behind someone of a similar stature to fit. For most people, these rear seats will serve as additional interior storage for laptop bags, jackets, workout gear, etc. And if you opt for the top-tier AMG GT63 which gets you the more powerful engine and an all-around more serious performance experience, the rear seats can be removed altogether. As for the visibility, the addition of small rear windows has made a huge difference when you glance over your shoulder when changing lanes. The slightly higher seating position and shorter hood have also benefited forward visibility. As for in-car tech, any replacement of the old command unit would have been an improvement. As it stands, the 11.9-inch portrait touchscreen is a massive step forward even if it dominates most of the interior. Incorporating the far more modern MBUX system, the GT Coupe finally offers many of the same features and ease of use as other Mercedes products. We think that most buyers will appreciate this improvement as much as, if not more than, the new back seats. 8 cylinders of fury. We admit that we feared for the sanctity of the tried-and-true 4.0-liter twin-turbo V8. After all, if the AMG C63 can lose its legendary power plant, would the GT Coupe be safe? The answer is a resounding yes. There are two flavors of the AMG GT Coupe, 55 4MATIC and 63 4MATIC Plus. In the 55, the engine makes 469 horsepower and a robust 516 lb-ft of torque. If you opt for the 63, you'll get 577 HP and a stout 590 lb-ft of torque, more than what was available on the legendary AMG GT-R. Both trims feature a 9-speed automatic transmission and all-wheel drive. All-wheel drive might come at the expense of some handling purity, but it will no doubt serve to put the 4.0-liter V8's tremendous power to the ground much more efficiently. The all-wheel drive system is fully variable thanks to an electromechanically controlled center differential that's capable of sending up to 50% of the power to the front axle or dumping all of it onto the rear wheels in the name of raw, unadulterated hooliganism. As good as the traction and stability control system was in the last GT Coupe, having all-wheel drive to lean on will undoubtedly make this new version faster and more accessible to the average driver. As a bonus or just common sense on something so fast, carbon ceramic brakes are standard on both GT Coupe models. Sporting 6-piston calipers and measuring 15.4 inches up front and 14.2 inches in the rear with simple 1-piston calipers, we doubt most drivers will ever find the limits of these brakes. Trick suspension is included. As a famous Italian tire manufacturer once said, "Power is nothing without control." The new GT Coupe gets a suspension setup that we can best describe as complicated. Forged aluminum suspension components adorn both the front and rear axle, and adaptive dampers reside at all four wheels. Connected to one another through hydraulic lines, the dampers serve to not only deal with individual wheel impacts but also take the place of traditional anti-roll bars with more instantaneous effect. The suspension's behavior is controlled by the selected drive mode and can work to smooth out city roads as effectively as it maintains wheel camber during extreme cornering loads. That hydraulic control is also extended to the standard front axle lift system, capable of raising the nose by 30 mm to clear speed bumps or steep driveways. Rear axle steering is standard on both models and does double duty in making the GT Coupe both more nimble and more stable depending on speed and condition. The takeaway: if you haven't seen the previous generation GT Coupe for a while, you'd be hard-pressed to notice any difference with the new model. Yes, the hood is shorter, and yes, the engine is moved forward a bit. But the styling is smoother, more refined, and no less muscular than the previous version. There are similarities to the Porsche 911 in profile, but since both are 2+2 sports cars of similar size and purpose, what else would you expect? Photos, as good as they are, simply don't do the front and rear fenders justice. They are huge and make the GT Coupe look every bit as aggressive as the outgoing version. Styling is remarkably unfussy, and in our brief time with the pre-production model, we could just as easily see this car driving down the 405 freeway as we could in full race livery pounding around the Nürburgring. It's tough but not the least bit cartoonish.